Everyone, you're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are the #1 internet singles talk network, and we're on Going Bold Wednesdays. So you guys are probably wondering, what the heck is Going Bold Wednesday? Well, it is men's issues, topics, and concerns, and I'm just here for the woman's perspective. We're on the boy and girl thing. So we talk about the opposites between boy and girl. I am Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of Relationship Building. I'm a divorce, dating, and life transitional coach. And I have with me my good friend, Dr. Christopher Salute.
Thank you, Cece. I appreciate you. We really got to continue to promote that. We keep forgetting that this is part of Going Bold Wednesday and the Going Bold Network. So I keep forgetting that myself. My name is Dr. Christopher Salute. I'm super excited to hang out with y'all. Cece and I are just elated to hang out with everybody. Tonight we're talking about stop complaining and start loving. And I'll be honest with you, Cece, this has been one of those topics where you sent it to me and I said, cool, I'll agree with you. But I was curious, we didn't have a chance to really hang out and talk about.
No, we didn't. So we're kind of going by the seat of our panties here.
Tell me a bit about how you chose this topic. When you chose this topic.
Well, you know what? I go to a lot of functions. Like, we're starting to get out and do a lot more singles stuff. And we always talk about dating. We always get to talk about dating. Yep. And, I hear a lot of people complain about the dating sites, and bad experiences and things like that. And so then I started thinking to myself, am I doing the same thing? Am I complaining? Yeah. And when you're complaining, then you bring your vibration down, right? And so.
Well, tell me more about because I was just having this conversation actually with my roommate Jackie, and I said, are my standards too high? You know what she said to me? This is you may agree with this. She said, as I pour my club soda, she said to me, because Jackie and I we even flirted for a second before we decided to become friends, and Jackie said to me, there's not a single person on this planet that can uphold the standards that you set for yourself in the person that you're trying to date. So I thought that very interesting, because I really wasn't aware of those standards that I hold for myself. So I guess my challenge to you when I thought about this topic, and when you talked about this topic, was, hey, like, why is there a difference between complaining and having high standards? And why don't you tell me a bit about what your thoughts are?
Well, I think there is, to a certain degree. I mean, maybe they do kind of a little crossover there a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, we do kind of get our knickers in a twist, when things don't start going our way.
Yeah.
And we have to work a little bit on trying to meet people.
Sure.
And when we're on the dating sites and we're meeting people and they're not really the right ones for us, we're starting to, we get upset and we get negative about it. And then we start getting mad at the dating sites, because we're thinking, okay, what are they not matching us properly, or what, right. What's up? And it's got to be them, right? It cannot be us. Yeah. that is not blending with these people that they're saying that we could possibly blend with. Yeah. And so then we get a little, I call it Debbie Downer. I hate sorry, Debbie's, but we get a little down on that, right? And I think as we continue to get down on that, then what happens is that I think we lower our vibration and we get negative, and then even if the right person comes along, we're just too like whatever, and we don't get with it, right? Maybe we need to be more loving.
Yeah, that's fair. Mm-hmm. So I'm paying attention to you. I'm listening. I'm
everybody. He's sharing like we always do. We share the show. He shares the show. We get it going, because we love to get your comments on the show live. We love that.
Absolutely.
And so, where are all of our ladies that are out there usually joining with us on the show?
Well,
come on, ladies, we need your support.
I didn't have a chance to share it individually with
folks. Didn't share it?
I've been so busy. Stop complaining.
See, and that's what's kind of bad about a bi-weekly show, is that they forget when it's the time to be on.
That's true.
So we love it when you make a comment. So you guys, please make a comment. Oh, we got our comment here. I love it. Yeah, she's here. Yay! Manna.
That's fun. So, I had a conversation with somebody, and if you're tuning into the show for the first time, and we're just loading up TikTok right now, we'll be on Instagram in a little bit. If you are just, if you're just showing up for the first time, I want you to understand that when I share anything, right? If I share a show with anyone, share anybody on my show, what I typically am sharing is going to be an amalgam. Do you know what an amalgam is, folks? An amalgam is going to be when somebody, I'm going to combine several people into one person. So I want to share this story with you, but I don't want you to think it's one person, okay? But I've recently talked to somebody who I matched with on a dating site, and I'll be honest, right? I'm in a space in my life where I'm still, I don't know. I've got the one in mind, and maybe I'm hung up on this thing that's not, that's not really the thing that it should be, but here we are. And so unless you're wowing me in a way that is 1,050%, it's challenging for me to commit to someone. And that's a hang up that I have. And I'm pretty honest with folks in doing that. But so I'm talking to this person who I matched with on a dating app. And again, when I say this, I'm combining this has happened 25 times, at least. And I said, look, I want to be clear about something. I would love to see you. And you know me, I'm not even about intimacy or sex right away. But I said to them, I'd love to see you. I'm a little concerned because I have a little bit more experience than you. And it's going to be for almost anyone. But I said, I'm nervous that if we are intimate in some way that, you may think more into it than I do. And their response was, and the response, as it always has been, right. And again, this happens to me, 10 times a year. It's not just one scenario, but this was the most recent over the summer that it happened. I said to them, this is what I'm thinking. And they said to me, I'm totally okay with that. I'm kind of, I'm used to kind of a friends with benefits kind of situation, or, I don't want to keep my expectations too high. I would enjoy your time and blah, 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 blah. And they said it in a way that was flattering. I don't remember how they said it. And again, don't forget it. I'm not referencing one person. This happens to me a lot. They said it in a way that was flattering. And I'll be honest, I was pissed off for them. Really, I was pissed off for them because I said to them, that's bullshit. Like, am I allowed to say bullshit?
Yeah, I guess so. You said it.
Well, I said, that's bullshit. I said, because here's the deal. I said, I just told you. And I felt like I needed to advocate for this person. And I've done this before. I said, I just told you that I'm not ready to commit to something right now. I met you on a dating app, and I'm not ready to commit to you right now. I said, I'm in a weird place. And you responded to me, that's totally fine. I'm okay with the friends with the benefit. Now, I know damn well this person was looking for a long-term relationship because that's what it said on their profile, right? And in getting to know that person, I knew that's what they want. They said that several times. And just, you get a vibe. I'm an empath. It is what it is. And so I said, and here you are compromising your, I don't want to say integrity because I don't want to attack that person, but you're compromising these things that you want because this seemingly charming, attractive dude or whoever the hell I am tells you that they're not ready to commit right now. And I'm going to be honest, I thought that was utter bullshit. And I said,
you know what? She can change you.
Is that what you're being facetious?
That's what it is. That's what she's thinking. You have a date with me and I'll change you.
I don't know.
I'll make you want me.
I don't know if she thought she could change me as much. And believe me, I've heard that before. We'll get to that today. But I don't know if she thought she could change me as much as, and I'll be honest, in getting to know that person, no, I think that was just the norm. That, look, I better get used to this because this is all I get. And
that's bad.
And that is bad. And that is bad.
That is bad.
And this person was so attractive. And when I say so attractive, and I put something up on the internet recently.
But okay, so why are you on a dating site and why are you saying that stuff yourself? Why are you doing that?
I agree with that. I called myself out and I got off the dating site. No. Believe me, I'm fully aware I was a dick about it.
Okay.
I called myself out and I got off the site. and I stopped matching with people actually at that time. It was through those conversations, this revelation occurred that I said, at that moment, I wasn't ready to commit to someone, now, like, for example, I put
but here's the thing, you haven't even gone out with them, right? So how do you know you wouldn't be ready to commit to them? I mean, I know that you're not in a place where you can anyhow to begin with dating, but
let me explain it a little better.
We don't, when we first start dating, we don't know if that's the person we're going to want to commit to.
1000%. Let me be a little bit out, man. And TikTok, feel free, hold me accountable. If you've got comments, I'll read them out loud. Please feel free. Here's let me be a little bit more clear about what I said. Yeah. I said to them, and I've said this before. It wasn't the one time this has happened. This has happened to me dozens of times. I said, look, my experience level is higher than yours, and I said my exact phrasing was, it could go somewhere. She was attractive. She had a great job, sweet, enthusiastic. Really beautiful person. And I said, but I'm nervous that if I can't commit to you, this is what may happen. You may think. And her response was, before even saying it, I wanted to set expectations, and I'll tell you why. I was physically attracted to this person beyond, there was a deep physical attraction to this person. Very attractive. I was concerned that we didn't line up. She was in a different location. We matched on a site that put me in 60 miles away, 70 miles away. So I was concerned about that. I was concerned about truly about the pace at which we might move, because she wanted to move quickly with intimacy, and her being able to handle that from me. That was my concern. And what I said to her was, I view sex a little bit more casually than the one or two times that you've had it. And her response was kind of not, and again, hold me accountable, TikTok. Maybe I read the response wrong. Her response was not in response to that, was, I'm okay doing something casual. I'm okay with friends with benefits. And, my issue is that you're not holding this guy accountable when you match with him on a dating site. You know what I mean? Because I think
maybe, my thought is maybe she's kind of thinking that you're not really going to work out anyhow because you're so far away. So why not? Let's hook up and see what happens. And
thank you, ma'am. Kind of a thing. It could be that.
And you never know. Well, she might have thought, maybe you never know. Maybe it will work out, and maybe it won't. So I'm not going to put my expectations on it. I'm going to go with the flow and see what happens.
Maybe that's,
and she thought you were a nice maybe. She thought you were a nice guy. She'd go with it. All right. I guess that was bad wording. I should stick with bullshit.
Yeah. No, I don't know. But the bottom line, and I don't want to get hung up on this one instance or this animal game of instances, because, and again, if you're just joining from TikTok, and if you know me personally, and if I ever talk about any scenario in which I've been in that scenario about 100 times. So not 100, but a lot of times. I combine those scenarios, and I never use names. I never use specifics. So this specific situation is a combination of this has happened several times. But the point that I'm making is not necessarily about this specific instance or these specific instances in which it happens. My point is, hold someone's foot to the fire a little bit. If you've got expectations, I speak to people who say, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And then all of a sudden they're not doing this or that. I've had it happen to me. I've had somebody say, you don't match this, and therefore I'm going to move on. Cool. Works for me. And then I literally see them with someone who doesn't match it either. And it's probably that they were wooed or charismaed or whatever they were. And what I'm saying is that, so I know your point is stop complaining and start loving. My counter to that is get what you want first, right? Like, if there's some stuff you need, make sure you get the stuff you need. And I know you're going to argue with that.
Right. But then again, are you shooting yourself in the foot? And so things aren't going well, with your dating, because you're saying these things right up front that are so negative that they'll say, whoa, wait a minute, and they step away from you, and then you complain because, you're not able to get a date. And that's because you're well, and I don't think you ever complain that you're not getting a date, but that it isn't going the way that you really want it to go, because you do want something long term.
Sure.
But it's because you're saying these things that are stopping that from happening. So it's almost like you're sabotaging it. Oh, here we have a comment.
You got some comments? It could be.
Yeah.
And what, are you going to read that comment?
I think people do that to guard themselves as well, prepping for worst case scenario. Yeah.
I want to touch on that, because this is where, and we've got a comment from Megan as well. Let me get these words out, and then I'll read your comment,
Okay.
Megan. Here's the thing. I fully agree with you, Mana, and I want to say this in a way, because you know me, I'm a pessimist about all this, and I'm part of the problem. I'm literally part of the problem. I'm going to do a series on TikTok if you're watching on TikTok, and I may get banned from TikTok. I'm going to be honest, because I'm going to talk about what happened with me a couple of years ago. I'm going to talk about the situations that I've been in, and I'm going to ask my followers, was I wrong? And I want to know, because maybe I was, and I probably was. So when I say there's an issue, I'm part of the issue, and I want to talk about this. The issue that I see, touching on Mana's worst case scenario being guarded, is that we are so afraid to put ourselves in a vulnerable state where we could lose, that we do not extend that olive branch. And especially with millennials, which I'm a millennial, and millennials are often categorized as like anybody young. No, millennials are actually, depending on where you look at it, it's, typically
younger than me.
Yeah, it's younger than you. Typically born like the mid 80s to early 90s is a millennial, I think. Hold on, let me look that up. But anyway, millennials and under, we've got this mentality, right? That, I could have done that, but I didn't want to. No, you couldn't, because you didn't know how, and you didn't learn how. You got to learn how to do it, and that's okay. But we're in this mentality, I could have had that person, I didn't let myself. I didn't give them of myself. And that's complete and utter trash, because you don't know if you could have had that person. You don't know if you would have been rejected. You were afraid to let yourself out there. So millennials were born between 81 and 94. And go ahead and figure your thoughts. And I'm going to just, I want to.
Well, I think when that happens, timing is everything, right? And so if there's a reason that you're sabotaging this, or you're doing something like that because you're putting up this wall because there's a reason that, only what that reason could be, that you don't truly want a relationship. You say you want one, you're doing all the actions to get one, but then when you get someone that's close to you that could possibly be a potential person, then you sabotage it. And so
attachment theory, right?
Yeah. So we have to think about that, but we can't complain that things aren't going our ways when we are the ones that are doing the negative,
Yeah, I agree with that.
And
I want to answer these folks on TikTok real quick, and then we're going to switch from TikTok.
What did was it Melissa? She said something.
Megan says, so just like you said, you realized you weren't ready for a relationship at that time. Doesn't mean that she doesn't feel the same or having the same revelation. It's possible. Again, I'm leaving a lot of details out in a lot of these situations, and that we've been talking for a while, and I thought that's what they wanted. But again, fully understand that it's very possible. Maybe I'm not as enticing and charming and attractive as I thought. Maybe they're like, this guy's probably only good for one thing, and that was fine. We didn't ever wind up meeting, which is a good thing, because I took it upon myself. I made that decision to not want to meet that person for that reason, and maybe I made the wrong decision. Nikki Trap Cheddar sent me a rose. I don't even know what that is, but I appreciate the rose. Thank you. And Ashley says she's all caught up. So I hate to do this because it looks like we've been on for about 10 minutes on TikTok already. I'm going to switch us over from TikTok to Instagram. If you don't want to switch over to Instagram, but you still want to listen, you can just check out my Shorby and go right to the barbershop, or you can just go on. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Did I just lose it? Or you can just go on to I guess, YouTube and type "Stop Complaining, Start Loving," right? Or
right.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Stop
Complaining, Start Living.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're live. We're live on our Facebook page, and we're live on YouTube. So
Nikki says, "I hope things get better. Breathe, Hakuna Matata. I appreciate you. I'm great. I may just be super passionate tonight, and so I'm fine. This is just me being a jerk. But I appreciate
so let's talk a little bit while you're sharing it with the other people. Let's talk a little bit about the vibration that we put out there. And so when we're feeling like we're putting it out there that we want to date, we want to do all of this stuff, but then our vibration is low, which means maybe our timing, or there's a reason that we're not really at the level that we should be at, right? Then we find that we're not meeting the right people, right? We're attracting the people we don't want in our lives. And so we have to really be in the right timing, in the right zone, both mentally and, physically ready to possibly meet someone, to have a relationship with, when all the boxes that you want to have checked, you got to kind of know what that is. And so I think when we're at the right plateau, as far as our vibration goes, then people do come into our lives. I mean, I'm ready to date. I'm ready to get out there again. And I got so many guys now approaching me. It's like, okay. So now, you have to figure out, who is. And that's the thing too, is when we're on some of these dating sites, it's like a smorgasbord, we are having to try to figure out who it is that we want to date and who we don't want to date and who we connect with and not connect with. And we got to do it pretty quickly, as we're talking to them. So we could misjudge, someone could be putting, portray something of their selves that isn't really true because they're nervous or whatever,
Yeah. And what I like about what, Megan had said was that she said, look, this person, you may not have even known, we're talking about, if you're just joining from Instagram, we were talking about a TikTok follower. She said, look, you may not have even known that this person wasn't ready for you. So like, don't assume that person has, is looking for that too. So it's very possible that, that maybe it's not that our standards are too high. It's not that we're complaining. It's that we don't know what the wants and needs of that other person are, So if you're just doing it from Instagram, we're talking about standards. So now I'm disagreeing with Cece as usual. And
but I mean, I agree with that, because there are people that I've gone out with, guys I've gone out with, that I thought they're not at the same place I'm at. And I don't want to mess around. I don't want to wait for them to catch up. I'm there. And so, yeah.
So I'm not really sure. Why did I think you were messaging me, like singling me out? Okay, bet. Hi, Cece. So Cherry Bomb said hi. Michaela
Who said hi?
Michaela. She's a really beautiful.
Hey, Michaela.
Who I asked on a date, and she said no, I think.
So she asked you on a date?
No, I asked her on a date, and she said
you asked her on a date, and she said, "Wise woman."
I know, wise woman.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
So if you're just joining from Instagram, we are talking about. So I'm disagreeing with Cece in that Michaela says I did not. I'm disagreeing with Cece. Cece says that we need to stop complaining and start loving. And while I agree with that, my contention is that we need to continue to keep our standards high for ourselves. And if there's something that we need and want in a relationship, we need to be careful about who we choose and who we select in that relationship. And, I'm going to stick to this in that. But here's the problem.
I agree with that too. But I feel like when you put up the walls, if you're immediately, as soon as you're talking to someone saying, "Hey, I'm difficult and I expect this and I expect that," well, guess what? You're going to get shot down, and you might have those expectations. But it's the way you lay them out, and that kind of thing.
This is where I think this problem never gets solved in this room, or it gets solved with a movement, in my opinion. And I'll tell you why, because we as a generation, right, in my opinion, we as a generation, I think we do two things to sabotage our relationships of late. Number one is we don't slowly, we don't slowly get vulnerable with our potential partners. We don't let those things happen slowly. We rush into those things and we want everything to happen right away. But the second thing that we do is that we do put up those barriers and we do put up those guards and we put up those expectations quickly. So it's like, I'm not going to slowly get to know you as a human being and offer myself in a vulnerable state. But so you don't know who the heck I am. But on the other hand, I'm going to demand something of you that you're not ready to give me because you don't know who the heck I am. What are your thoughts? And then I've got some great comments here I'd like to read if that's okay.
I don't think that that's based on generation. I think we all do that.
You think that's
and a lot of times when we do that, it's when we're truly not ready to date. You know, is because we think we are, and we get out there and we do it. And then we get somebody that's interested in us. Then we say, whoa, wait a minute. What happened? Yeah.
I hear that, and I've got this is amplifying my point. Daddy's Angel 69, great name, by the way. I'd rather be disappointed. Hold on, I want to read this. I'd rather be disappointed from the start before I get attached, LOL, and be straightforward with my expectations. This is my problem. Okay, look, can I preach for a second, Cece?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Here's my problem with this entire conversation is that, and look, I'm going to preface this with, I understand that the generations before us had a lot of issues. When we talk about monogamy, we talk about the abuse that went on, the religion that played a part in keeping people together when people were being beaten and financially and emotionally and psychologically abused. I get all that. I get all that. Okay. What I'm talking about, though, is I'd like the romantic in me would like to assume or hope that there was a small percentage of folks in that generation, I'm talking about your generation and the one, there's probably one between us, that, or who stayed together and got to know each other in a real way. They like handed you their pin or their jacket. They got to know each other in a way. They committed to you. They fixed things. They communicated things. They weren't all over the place, right? So now when you tell me Daddy's Angel 69, I'd rather be disappointed from the start before I get attached and be straightforward with my expectations. That's hard for me to handle. It's hard for me to deal with because I hate that. I hate that it is an epidemic in most people that I speak to. And you're right, it's probably not generational, Cece. It's probably just of this time period, in that we are experts at sabotaging relationships and sabotaging dating, and we're experts at being alone. And there's a difference between I can be alone and I'm going to be alone, because being able to live alone and live your life and be happy alone is wonderful, and you don't need another human being to do that. However, man, and when I say man, I mean humanity, was designed to be tribal. We were designed to live in communities. We were designed to depend on one another for stuff. And so to say that you're so independent that you don't know how to conflict resolute and you don't know how to deal with things and love and compromise some stuff that's not your belief system, right, or your integrity, but compromise on certain things, right, then, that to me is an issue. I see we have a question from Mana and then one from Daddy's Angel again.
Yeah, she says we get it, what we put out. Having certain standards is good, but we need to remember that we're all humans and be willing to compromise. Yeah, no. Oh, wait, did I miss this one? Did we play that one? Yeah, we did that one.
Yeah. So do you want to touch on that?
So yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying, but I also think we're different like time zone, so to speak, right? We're coming out of COVID, and a lot of us single people have been stuck by ourselves in COVID. Right. And we've been talking to people online, and we've been doing all that kind of stuff, but we haven't really been able to do anything. We're a little bit frightened still of getting out there, meeting people, because people are still getting sick, whether you've had your shot or not had your shot. And so now they're thinking to themselves, okay, well, I'm talking to this person online, am I really that interested enough to take the risk of actually meeting them? And coming together with them. So it's not just trying to blend somebody, checking off their boxes or making sure they're the right one, but you also want to make sure that you're safe. You're on the same wavelength on things like that. So there's a lot of other factors that are involved within dating now, and it's become a lot more complicated. Yes. To be dating. And if someone isn't really kind of meeting all those things, then you say, okay, forget it. You drop them like crazy. Yeah. And I have to admit, I'm the same way too. If I'm not messing around now, because I've wasted a year, right? You wasted a year being, in lockdown. And so now, I'm of a little bit older generation. I don't want to waste any more time. If you're not the right person, I'm going to move on. because I don't want to be vested. And that's the thing is like, you want to be careful who you vest in, because if they don't meet your qualifications at the very beginning, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, right?
Right. No, I get that. I want to acknowledge some of these comments real quick on Instagram, and then we'll probably kick off and then go straight to YouTube. So Michaela says, I could probably learn a lot from this podcast thing. I hope you can. I know that you've got things that you're working on. Agreed, Daddy's Angel, she says. Kate says, hi there. Hi, Kate. So a couple of things here. Daddy's Angel, I definitely have not always thought about that way about love, but past experience have made me a stickler. I want to address that. Erica agrees. COVID was the best thing to happen to me. It forced me to look in and take care of myself. Lindsay says, I'll only meet someone in person if I know there's something that will be worth my time. Daddy's Angel says, yes, girl. So I want to address this, and then we'll kick off. If you need to find us, we're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. You can just do a search for Going Solo Network or WGSN. Yeah, you're right. All of you are right? Past experiences have told you that. And you know, I look at, and it's same thing with Matt is saying the same thing, right? We need to compromise, but our past experiences have told us that we're going to get in a lot of trouble. We're going to get burned, because I can't tell you how, like, so if you know anything about me, you know that I get real uncomfortable when people are talking about me online because of what's happened to me. And part of that was my fault, but part of it was just people wanting to be hurtful. So there comes a trigger point where somebody talks to me in a way that I feel they're going to share my screenshots or something, and I defensively block. You're blocked because history has told me that could happen, right? So same thing here. It's that, you know, you're getting spoken to in a certain way because men are, I'm sorry, we're all the same, and so we are, you know, I talk to men all the time about this. When I coach men, I say, dude, what's your problem, bro? Like, we know what you want, dude. You're guided by one thing. Men are guided by one thing. It's not a secret anymore. But here's the thing, and women know it too. They're not stupid. Women are way smarter than we'll ever be, and to be honest, because they're not led by that one thing. But here's the thing. In order to get the one thing that you want in life, man, you've got to find a woman that you love and adore and cherish and honor. And you should start doing that, because if you can't, you're not going to get the one thing you want. So what happens is men condition women, and please forgive me, I'm using this hetero language because we're talking about hetero relationships, but this could be in any which way. A man in any conversation conditions a woman to compromise those things because she knows that's what's going to happen. Well, I better just get used to being ghosted. Well, I better get used to this just being sex. Well, I better get used to him just not showing up because that's what's going to happen. Bro, that's not how it should be.
Oh, that's not how it is either. I mean, I listen, I'm a woman, and I realize that those things do happen, but I mean, the thing is we do have some control of who we talk to. And if they're not, if they like ghosted us or they did whatever, then, then great. They're out of our lives before they even got into our lives. So we shouldn't be getting upset with that. But to think that women have to settle and we have to compromise, absolutely not. Women out there, let's start commenting here and let him know that this is not what we are going to do.
Now, I agree
we're
with
not
you.
going to do that.
We're going to move on to YouTube and
okay, women, come on, get with it.
But I want to tell something. Hold on. I just feel like you called out every relationship I've ever had. Oh my goodness, we should talk about that. Think about ourselves and what we deserve. I want to address this one thing, and then we're going to move on to YouTube and Instagram, YouTube and Facebook. It's not that I disagree with you, Cece. I want to say that I honestly think that you're a rarity, and that. And let me tell you the data that I
am a rarity.
You are. You're lovely.
I will agree with you on that.
Can't lie. But let me tell you why I think you're a rarity. I took a group of young college students. I'm a college professor and dean. I took them on a retreat, and through that conversation, I had a conversation again. When I talk about students, I'm talking about an amalgam. When I talk about anybody in my life, I'm talking about an amalgam. I've had this happen several times. Talk to a student. This guy was wildly depressed. And I said to him, what's up, man? Like, what's going on? And I had 15 years on this kid at least. And he said to me, I'm depressed at the rate at which, let me tell you something. This kid was such an attractive dude in and out. This dude had everything. He was such a cool cat, and he was so good looking, and he was so kind. His heart, it was like you could see through his chest to his heart. He was such an amazing dude. And and I'm not trying to make him feel good. Dude was also a good looking kid. Okay. And I could say that because when you get into my classroom, you're a tree as far as I'm concerned. And if you've never been in my classroom before, when I say you're a tree, none of my students have sexual organs from the minute they walk into my classroom for the rest of their lives. Meaning I will never look at a student and think of them sexually. Just can't. Once you're my student, that's it. Right. So I'm saying this kid's a good looking kid. He's an attractive looking dude. I'm also straight. So he said, I'm so depressed because the way that we're connecting. And I guess it was a woman who had broken his heart or whatever. And he said, people are connecting in such a way, it's breaking my heart. And I said to him, this will happen to you more and more as you get older, blah, blah, and we're kind of talking. And he said to me, the average kid in his high school had already slept with over 10 partners before they got to college. 10 partners before they got to college. And to me, that's wild. And to me, and this was a regular school in New York, to me, that tells me that this is a growing problem, that we are getting to that level of intimacy before we are knowing ourselves and before we are, before we're setting those standards. And with that, we're going to move over to YouTube and Facebook. So I hope you can join us there. And Cece, feel free to beat me up because I know you're about to.
Well, I kind of agree with that a little bit. I mean, I think that we're not teaching our young people to respect themselves and to take things slowly, and when in doubt, when you slow down, you'll kind of find the answers. You'll figure it out if this person is the right person for you or whatever. But in our young people today, and I know this is a different subject, but in our young people today, there's so much love that has been misplaced. I mean, we've got divorces, we've got separated homes, children are being tossed back and forth between families. There's a lot of different stuff that's going on. So there's a hunger for that connection. And so they're trying to connect. And when they do it just totally physically, sexually, they're still not getting exactly what they're looking for, that hunger that they're looking for. And so we need to make sure that those out there, and I think even the dating, even older, is the same way. It's like we're connecting. We want to connect on more of a mental than a physical. And if we start going in with the physical right off the bat, your relationships generally aren't going to be as cemented as if you go in with a more emotional basis. So I think that's something to think about as you're progressing. I mean, you're a good looking guy, so you're getting a lot of women that are attracted to you because you're good looking. I mean, right up front, they're that way. And so, of course, it is a sexual thing. You're sexual, so you're leading with the sexual stuff. But here's the thing. Women want a man, generally speaking, that is strong and that knows what he wants. And when he's talking to us in a dating format, and he knows what he wants, and we kind of think we check those boxes, we're going to like that. It's going to pique our interest.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And look what time it is.
I know. We're almost done.
And we didn't even do our commercial.
Should we break for that?
No, that's okay. That's all right. But I mean, this is such an interesting topic, even though we've gone a little bit from it. But when we're not, and the reason I wanted to talk about this is because when all the things aren't happening in our lives the way we want them to do, we complain about it instead of looking to ourselves for the answer to fix it, to change, make that shift that's happening within us to be able to make that change that needs to happen.
And I want to touch base on what Mana said too, because it's super important. And I think too, that when you get into the relationship, right, we get them what we put out. Having certain standards is good, but we need to remember that we're all human beings and willing to compromise. And I want to say, I don't want to speak for you, but I want to say what I think you're saying is once we've gotten to the level of trust with another human being, that we should compromise. And that's the whole point of this topic, is it not? To when when we've gotten to that level. I guess what I was saying this whole time was, when do we get to that level? Because it's so challenging to get to that level. But let's assume that we get there, right? We get to that level. I love that what you're saying. I love what you're saying is that, we need to compromise on certain things. We need to be aware of what we've got, what the great things are, and we need to commit to that person in a way that helps them know that they're valuable and that they're valued. What do you think?
No, I agree with that. I think as we're traveling through dating, as we're moving through the dating arena, I think we need to keep our priorities in check. What truly is our breakers, what really is important, and what can we say, okay, I'm not worried about that. Yeah. And then as we start to date and we're starting to, get to know the other person, let's kind of lay down the judgment a little bit. Let's give a little grace along the way, because everybody's a little bit nervous. We're trying to blend together our personalities. We're trying to blend together our histories, and maybe some of the baggage that we might have. So let's give each other a little bit of grace along the way and take it a little slower. Isn't there something said for savoring the moment? Enjoying where you are, experiencing life a little bit. Why do we have to go so fast with everything?
I think
you gotta love that. I love you, whoever loved me.
Why, who said love you?
We got a little love on that one.
Who said that? You can do that?
I don't know who did it. We gotta someone give us a little heart. I saw it come through just as I was saying that. So very sweet.
Here's what I think is that I think that this tech world that we live in, this social media world that we live in, leads us to believe that every day we are climbing Mount Everest, we are winning an Oscar, we are making $1 million, we are having the best sex, we are the most attractive, we're making the best stuff. And, here's my problem. Oh, Sharavia said that. And so, here's my problem is that we're not, and not, there are so many things in life that you want to get, and we don't delay that gratification by investing properly in the right people. Even in the bedroom, for example, there are certain things that I like to do in the bedroom that require a lot of trust and a lot of loyalty.
TMI.
No. That's all I'm going to say. And, I go through a season of singleness where I go, gosh, I really miss that. And it's because I'm single. It's because I'm not invested in that one person who's going to give me what I want, and I'm going to give them what they want, And so that to me is a huge concern, right? And it's the same thing with your career, with your life. You don't have that partner holding you down and having your back, so you're not going to get those things because you're too worried about the next thing. You don't have the job that you want because you're too worried about the next job you're going to get. You're not even enjoying the promotion you just got because you're thinking about the promotion you're going to get.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're so right. I just think that sometimes we just need to slow it down a little bit, kind of, live in our space, and enjoy the people that we meet and enjoy where we're at. And maybe not everything is perfect. And maybe we'll meet people along the way that we think, okay, we made a nice friend along the way. They're just not going to be a long-term relationship for me. And that's okay. Yeah. And they're going to feel that maybe about you too, which is fine. It's absolutely fine, because you know what? You can't be with the wrong one when you're looking for the right one. So you need to just be able to, give yourself the space and be able to understand that, it's a journey that we're all on, and enjoy it. Right.
That's fair. So now Sage says, I want to address Sage. She said, and then we have to go soon, right?
Yeah. Thank you for commenting.
Yeah, I agree. Social media is toxic and it's a downfall of relationships. I think social media is both toxic and the downfall for most things. Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to say the downfall for relationships. I think it's the downfall for a lot of things. It's a downfall for your career. It's a downfall for life. Mena says, I like the phrase, be the kind of person you'd want to date. I agree with that. I think to myself, I always joke, and you have your final thoughts, but I always joke that the good Lord, my God and Savior, who, if you know, I'm a faithful person, he is going to bless me with 1 or 2 daughters. He's going to. And the reason he's going to do that is because of the amount of womanizing that I've done in my life and the amount of being a player that I've done in my life. And he's going to teach me that lesson because he's going to make sure that I have to experience men taking my daughter out and how anxious and angry that's going to make me. And so since I had that revelation a couple of years back, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to treat people the way I would want someone to treat my daughter, my mother, my sister, me, my friend, my cousin, my whatever. And it's made a huge difference in my life. And maybe I wasn't ready to settle down, and I'm still, I'm still wrestling with that now, but I'm at least more transparent about it. And, that's super important. But I agree. Be the kind of person that you'd want to date.
We got another comment here. Yes, it comes down to we don't value ourselves or our time. That's true. And I agree with what you're saying there because, I have boys. And so I've always said to them, I better not ever hear anything negative, from any of your partners because I taught you better than that. But, and it's really about respecting your partner and above all, respecting yourself. Because if you respect yourself, you're not going to mistreat the other person. You really aren't, because you're going to call it on yourself first. You're not going to ghost. You're not going to do all of these things that are really not appropriate because you're not that kind of person. Right. And so, I just feel like, we all are going to, what one of my friends used to say, there's a lid for every pot. Right.
I so every seat.
Yeah. So there you go. So, and I think we're all going to meet the person that we're going to be with. We just have to allow ourselves to slow down a little bit, enjoy the ride and be ready for it when it comes, be ready for it.
Vienna waits for you. Slow down, you crazy child. That's one of my favorite songs.
Good job.
Thank you. We probably got to close out, right, Cece?
Yeah, we got to close it out. I love this show. I hope you guys love it too. And thank you for listening. And your comments mean the world to us. We love it. So
I'm going to do a little self-plug. Hey, if you're hanging out with us, we're taking a quick break, an 11-minute break, and then we're going to come right back here for the barbershop. I want to talk about this. It's a very controversial topic. We're going to talk about gaslighting, defining gaslighting, how it's used, is it overused, when it's used, what it means, all that kind of stuff. So I really want to, let you all know it's going to be a good topic, and I want to hear your thoughts as well. Cece, as always, thank you for keeping me in line.
I don't do that on purpose. I just nag, I guess. Yeah. But anyhow, sorry about that. But, I have a great time on the show, and I want to thank you so much because, it makes me think about, when I hear it from your perspective, from a guy's perspective, it makes me think about it. And I have to go back and give it some thought and make sure that I'm on the right page. So I hope that that's what happens to everyone that's out there listening to the boy and girl thing, because we try to bring up issues and topics that maybe we not necessarily see eye to eye so that we can be able to appreciate each other's views and have a better understanding. Right?
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Cece, and I'll see you in a little bit when we do our show.
Okay, we'll see you on the barbershop. I will be in the back end unless he says something that I just got to pop up. Okay, bye for now.